I gotta drive later.
Okay, here we go. Craft Beer Budz, thanks for joining me in my garage somewhere in North County. The beer review show, blind taste tests with random strangers for the most part. I'm Jay, this is Matt, that's Mike, Super Mikey-O. Matt and Super Mikey-O I found on nextdoor.com. I shouldn't even be giving them a plug, but that's how I found them. And then when cameraman Mike, who is obviously not a cameraman, couldn't make it today, and cousin Vinny went back to Maui, I reached out to SD Beer Friends where we found Mike. Hello. And yeah, why don't you? I think if anybody wants to know about me or Matt or Super Mikey-O, you can look at the old episodes. But since we're starting off a new week with some new beers, why don't you go ahead, Mike, and just go ahead and give yourself a little plug real quick, introduce yourself, and whatever else you want to say.
Follow me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter as Mike Schramm is my last name. And yeah, I do, if you're in San Diego, I do improv every week at Friday nights down at Finance City Improv. And otherwise, I just like beer. And it's the SD Beer Friends Facebook group, it's a Facebook group where people just post, look at this beer I'm drinking. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I pull it up my feed and people are just enjoying beer every single day. So it's great.
And see, so what we've done is we're taking it to the next level where we're saying, look at this beer we're drinking. Only we're doing it with video. But yes, welcome. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
And let's see, there was something else that... It's been a rough day. I was up really late last night, so I don't think I'm bringing my A game today, but I'm trying. But
You're doing fine, man.
Yeah.
You know what ups your game is? More beer.
Yeah.
And you know what? Speaking of which, let's get right into it. Everybody ready for a beer?
Yes, yeah.
All right. Feel free to nerd out on some game talk. I'm sure people will enjoy that as well.
Beer
and I'll load up.
Beer and game talk.
Yeah, beer goes with games, right?
Yeah,
that works.
Exactly.
It's fun. It's always fun when I drink and play video games because in real life, if you get drunk, you have to worry about getting in dangerous situations or doing bad things. But in a video game, it doesn't matter.
You're encouraged.
Yeah, you play Grand Theft Auto, drink a bunch of beers, go drive around. Nobody gets hurt. It's fine. Yeah, it's fun. We should get like brown paper bags and just pour it in brown paper. I feel like going back is like. We just sit here while he goes back and pours.
There's some little silences.
Yeah, just sort of hang out.
Yeah. Awkward silence. Just sit here totally quiet. No.
What's our expectations, I guess? What's our expectations for beer?
I don't know. Like, coming into it last week, I was like, well, I don't know what beers to expect, but I was really surprised when the first beer out of the gate was a sour. Mm-hmm. And then we had a New England style IPA, and then another sour, and then a stout that might as well have been a barley wine.
So it's all over the place. There's
yeah.
There's no clear thing.
Yeah.
What kind of beer do you like?
Because I gotta make sure that door is shut.
I like almost every style of beer.
Camera's running.
But,
no, he can come. So, okay, here's something interesting. Beer. Not to interrupt, sorry. But, so, this is my next door neighbor, Eric. You can, why don't you wave to one of those cameras right there, or get in the shot, or come over here or something. So, little story. So, actually, okay, yeah. Come over here, I guess, just so... well, whatever. Okay, so he went in the corner.
He'll be the voice on camera.
Yeah, but anyway, well, see, here's what happened. So I go, and I'm pouring our next round of beers, and when I went out there the first time to pour the first beer, I noticed my front door was kind of slightly open, which I don't really make any... It's like no big deal, but what happened was...
Oh, no.
Chewie the Wonder Dog, he escaped. And thankfully, my neighbor brought him back. Watch out, buddy. But yeah, this is Chewie the Wonder Dog. He doesn't drink craft beer. He's a very old man, and he can't really hear too well. He doesn't see too well. But apparently, he knew the door was open, and he decided to go next door and eat the neighbor's cat food. So, oh, sorry, buddy. I just bumped his head on the table. But
only whiskey for
but yeah,
Chewie the
so
Wonder.
Eric was good enough to come and bring Chewie the Wonder Dog back. So
What a guy.
thank goodness.
Nicely done.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Cheers to that. We cheers with a full glass.
That's
this time,
right.
Yeah, there we go. Cheers.
Salute.
I can't reach, but here we go. I'll hit Matt, and you can pass it down.
Yeah.
Well, this is darker than the last beer that we took a look at.
Your grasp of the obvious is unbelievable.
Can't run things past me. Okay?
Okay,
Gotta wake up pretty early in the morning.
John Madden, a beer review.
Oh, zing!
Oh, I think there's alcohol in this beer, guys. I'm pretty sure.
Now we're all going to do improv. Who wants to go first?
I will say I like this better than the previous beer we did was the Coronado Orange Avenue Wit. This is more interesting, more flavorful, obviously, and notes of coffee stout somewhere in there. Maybe not a stout. It's a little bit lighter than I think a full stout, but
This time I drank it down a little before I did my swirl. So I'm not getting it all over my hand.
Matt getting his swirl on. Matt is the resident beer nerd. I think there is a certain nerd element across the board here,
Yeah,
but he is the beer nerd that has more knowledge than pretty much the rest of us. So,
what does your knowledge tell you?
It tastes like a good stout to me.
Yeah. This is my style of beer. I gravitate toward stouts, dark beers. This has sort of a nutty flavor.
Yeah, I like the dark kind of roasty coffee. I'm not really a coffee drinker. I said that in one of the previous episodes, but this has a really good
Very robust
coffee flavor
Yeah.
on it. Almost reminds me of a breakfast stout. Like
People drink stouts for breakfast?
have you not heard of a breakfast stout?
Where's
Oh
that
yeah,
been all my
good
life?
oatmeal stout. That's-
Super Mikey-O is really going to get schooled, I think, by participating in this process.
Indeed. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
you've
that's-
never...
Beer
It
for
almost
breakfast.
seems a little lighter than a stout, like a brown ale or something like that. It doesn't necessarily.
maybe
I
the
don't
high
know.
end of a porter.
Yeah, something like that. It doesn't quite seem quite as dark or as thick as a real strong oatmeal stout or something. But yeah, it does have that sort of weird like roasted, not weird, but roasted, full body flavor and everything.
Yeah, it's really clean. What style of beer is supposed to be. I'm not picking up any green pepper, which you'll sometimes get in a stout or a dark porter. The coffee flavor is really good in this. I like this beer a lot.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Tell him what he's won, Johnny. So did everybody speak their piece? Did you weigh in, Mike?
Yes, I did.
Super Mikey-O, rather?
I like this beer quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I almost wish, if I'm going to say anything bad about it, I almost wish it had a little bit more of an interesting flavor to it. Like it almost is sort of a straight down the line brown sort of coffee style stout porter, whatever it is. It's not, there's nothing that really like makes me surprised or fascinated by it. So if I'm going to say anything bad about it, it's that it's not quite as exciting, but it is almost like more what you're looking for when you're looking for this type of beer.
So what you're saying is maybe they could have dialed it up a notch.
There could have been something in there, either some sort of like stronger nut flavor or something like that, or like you said, a pepper or something that made it a little bit more interesting or more spicy or more wild. But that said, this is a good example of that sort of breakfasty oatmeal / coffee / whatever, that type of brown porter ale, whatever it happens to be.
No, dude, you don't have to whisper. It's all good.
We take it all here.
Eric, now that Eric has returned Chewie the Wonder Dog to his rightful domain, his own wonder kind are out there. Daddy! I don't know, maybe you picked up on camera, but they're clearly wondering where he is. So, again, sir, thank you. And actually, one day in the future, maybe Eric will come in and sit in and drink some beers with us instead of just bringing my dog back, which I am eternally grateful.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I close the door behind me.
you know what? And when I go, close the door, and then I'll keep an eye on him. So when I go out to get the bottle, I'll make sure I lock it so he doesn't, because he's a little He's blind, he's deaf, but he can open doors. I haven't figured it out yet. So that's why he's the Wonder Dog. So
Enjoy.
But, all right, see you later. Thanks again, Eric. Appreciate it. So you're a bad boy. Why would you go lay down? Go trying to escape. So let me say this before. Are we ready for the reveal? Should I go get the bottle?
Sure.
Let me say one thing before I get the bottle. I have had this on draft as well, and it's a totally different experience. And we'll have to look at the date on the bottle, just like you brought up previously, just to see. I mean, I wouldn't think this style degrades that much sitting in a cooler in a liquor store. But yeah, this is a completely different experience when you drink it at the brewery.
This is the kind of beer that they might also serve on nitro, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Which I like a lot.
Yeah, much smoother.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very partial to anything on nitro.
Yeah.
There's just something about that mouthfeel and the small bubble, tiny bubbles that are just really good. So, all right, let's see. Where's the spa wrap? Hopefully I took it in the kitchen.
Right behind you.
Oh, here it is. Yep.
Reveal time.
So we'll get ready for the big reveal.
Yeah, I feel like we've had less of this than the last one. Not
I don't
not
know.
as easy.
I'm trying to save mine for a final cheers.
Oh, okay, all right.
There's
That's
anything
smart.
left.
That's smart.
You want to come in, Pop?
No, I'm actually kind of in the opposite boat as you. If I'm ordering a coffee stout, I want a coffee stout. Like
You
I
want
want that
straight up.
straight thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people are doing a lot of stuff with beers, and it's fun to try them from time to time. But it's almost hard to find a clean, like, just a stout or just an IPA.
Yeah, it's interesting too because there's sort of two camps I think in craft brewing, and one camp is the purist of like if I'm gonna get an IPA, it's gonna be like a bitter, like straight up IPA.
Yeah.
And then there's the other camp of like, and maybe they're more casual or more newer or whatever, or not as pure, but they're like, if I'm gonna get an IPA, I want like a grapefruit sculpin, or I want something with a little flavor, or a little bit extra flavor. So I think this is much more in the purist camp for sure. But personally, and maybe I will get internet hate for this, but personally I like...
One can only hope.
You did
All right.
give them your Twitter account, right?
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
But personally, I like to be surprised by, you can call it a gimmick, but like a feat of brewing or something that adds a new flavor that I didn't quite expect or didn't jump in.
Yeah, and I'll always go out and try those too.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it says coffee stout on the board and it doesn't say coffee stout with peppermint or coffee
Right.
stout with bacon, I want
You want
a
a
straight,
good example,
clean.
yeah.
Well, and even on those flavored beers, right? I want a clean example. If you're adding fruit to it, I want the base beer to be good before you add fruit to it.
That's true too. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. No amount of
Right.
Yeah. No amount of crazy flavors make up for a badly brewed beer. That's true.
We ready for the reveal?
Yeah.
Yeah, bring down the spa towel.
And
Vanilla porter.
I'm not getting any vanilla out of this.
you know what? That is why I'm saying that drinking it at the brewery is totally different. Because when I had this at the brewery, I mean, man, they pour it and when it comes over, it's like vanilla, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you
vanilla
just
everywhere,
get
yeah.
it. It's the vanilla is much more pronounced than what is happening in this bottle. And I will also go so far to say, one of the guys that works there turned me on to that if you take half this and half of their breakfast stout and put them together, that is just like, that's an awesome combination.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, now let's look at the date. Let's find a date on here.
Vanilla is, because I've brewed a cider with nuts and vanilla in it. Vanilla is notorious for dropping out flavor-wise faster than almost anything.
Wow, I don't see any date on here. So, can you find anything on there? Yeah, this beer, I mean, it's still good. I think we all enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
But we're not getting the vanilla aspect,
Yeah.
especially compared to what you get when you drink it on tap.
You're right. When you order it on tap, it is vanilla.
I mean,
You
everything's
can
better.
have- yeah.
Everything's better on
That's true.
tap.
That's
I mean,
fair.
let's face
That's
it.
why we have to move this show to a brewery.
Ah, there you go.
No date on there,
I
huh?
couldn't find one.
All right, let's see. Loosely based on an American porter, but spiced up with whole vanilla beans from Madagascar, the vanilla porter provides a deep, rich mocha head with subtle notes of vanilla in the nose. The flavors are sweet chocolate, spices, smooth cream with just a hint of hoppy bitterness. She may be vanilla, but rest assured, this is no ordinary porter. Well, I like it. I just wish there was more vanilla as it is represented when you have it on draft.
Yeah, I have a hard time distinguishing between vanilla and chocolate when there are those types of porters available. And by the way, mixing the two is also another awesome thing to do.
Well, I purposely didn't eat any cheese today because of what it does to my sinuses to have a better palate. And even with the clean palate, I was actually surprised when I first poured this that I was like, well, where's the vanilla? I was expecting the vanilla just because I've had it at the brewery.
Yeah, it's good for sure. We have to rate it for sure, but yeah, that goes to the thing that like the vanilla is sort of that flavor that I wanted to jump out. I wanted to go on there. So yeah. It
really to me is, and I'm belaboring the point, I know, but I don't care. It's my show. I do whatever I want. But I am amazed at how the vanilla has gone away compared to when I drank it when I was over there. But okay, so all right, ratings, gentlemen. What do we got?
I'm going to give it a 3 still. If I were judging it in competition or something and I didn't pick up the vanilla, it would probably drop score-wise. But just as a beer I'm enjoying, it's still a really good beer.
So a 3 is the top of the list. That's the top of the scale.
I'm not using halves. I'm going straight 1, 2, 3.
Can I use 3.5? No.
I've had it on draft, and I agree with you. I prefer it on draft, and the vanilla flavor and just the point of the beer, the theme of the beer is so much stronger when you have a pint and you're going out with that there. So I would say what I've had in the past on draft, I would put at like a 2. This one I thought was a 1. Like, I don't know necessarily, it's not something that I wouldn't want to drink it, but it didn't stand out to me as a real strong, flavor or anything like that. In fact, this versus in the previous show we tried the Orange Avenue Wit. I think I preferred that better, and I gave it that 1.5. So I'll give it, in this specific situation, a 1. That's a little harsh, but that's what I'm here to do, is be harsh.
Hey, no, you know what? The whole key is to be real. That's why it's blind. Right. Because, I worry, it's like I said, I worry about myself. I don't want my perspective being tainted because I know, what it is, where it comes from. And that's why I'm thinking, and plus it will cost me less money, but that's why I'm thinking maybe I should get other people to bring some beers as well. Yeah. Maybe even get to, because actually there's a lot of pressure. I mean, getting beer is usually a pleasurable experience, but I'm like thinking, okay, well, where can I go? What am I going to get? What am I going to do? I don't want to do what we did last week. And all of a sudden it's like getting beer, I feel like, well, if I don't know. There might have been a small earthquake outside. I don't know if that picked up on the camera or not. But anyway, but yeah, it's. But I don't want my. I want to develop my own awareness as well, and I feel like I can critique things better if I don't know what they are in advance. Yeah. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit because I do know.
It's true. And you're at a bar. You're at a craft beer bar, at a bar in general. There's a list of beers up on the board, and you see one, and it goes, it's a vanilla porter, and it's got flavors of chocolate and spices and vanilla. You already have that sort of mindset, right? That's
exactly right.
And in this blind taste testing, it's been interesting. We have landed, I think, on the strongest, goals of the beer, but they're definitely a lot of that sort of, sensory stuff that's sort of introduced to you from when you first start looking at the board. That's not shown up on these for sure. And it's interesting.
Yes. And so you gave it a 1?
I'm gonna give it a 1.
Okay, so Super Mikey-O, it's on you.
Well, I want to qualify my rating system.
You're unqualified, so you might as well just stop right there.
I'm going to give it a 2. And a 2 in my world is something that I'll go back to, I'll drink, I like it. I think, as we're going through this, to get a 3, it's going to have to lift me off the seat to receive a 3 from Super Mikey.
I think that's a good credo to bring to the situation.
But definitely a beer I would order again and I would drink time
Well,
again, for sure.
I like it, but out of the bottle, I can only give it. See, because I'm torn by what it is at the brewery and what it is here in the bottle. I'm only going to give it a 1.5 because I just know what it can be, and this is good. It's empty already. It's good. I like it. But it's just I'm tainted by the experience that I had at the brewery.
I
You
think
got spoiled.
we
I am.
should rate before the reveal.
Interesting.
It's not bad. Because
good
I'm
idea. That's a
interested
good
to
idea.
see where they both would have rated that beer
That's a great idea.
without knowing it was supposed to have vanilla.
You just saw Craft Beer Budz history. That introduced a new control on the situation, and so that's what we will do. We are nothing if we are not flexible.
That's right.
So
Ever evolving.
That's right. We're trying to get better every time, and especially and a side note to Matt's wife. Hopefully, I got the lighting a little better under control. We're under 50% less lighting than last time because I too saw the blowouts and it disgusted me as an editor. So
Your wife not a big fan of the show? You can't.
She liked the show.
All right.
First
but
round
it
feedback
looked bad. And it's funny, just like we're all different on beer. Super Mikey was like, "Yeah, it looks great," and the whole time I'm editing, number one, I'm like, if I gotta fucking listen to myself one more time and edit one more thing, because I didn't want to be on camera, but in order to make product and get stuff out, I felt like I had to do it. If you look at all the other videos on Inside the Craft, you don't even know I'm there, and I prefer it that way. But nonetheless, I've answered the call, and I'm here now. But it is no pleasure watching myself on camera.
Well, we're glad to have you guys
Yeah.
here, though. It's fun. Yeah.
But that said, so the production end of it, and this guy, he is the definition of white privilege. He was so white compared to Super Mikey and I, who both have an Italian heritage. And you could see the coloration was so different between the three of us. And it was just like, and it was my fault because I was like, I had 2 light banks set up and too close, and I'm using a new rig. And when I was looking at it, I'm like, this is some amateur shit. And I do this for a living. But just to kind of I know I'm going off topic and trying to compensate for my own shortcomings on the last episodes. But I have a light rig that I use on location that I know like the back of my hand, and I have great results. This is a completely new setup, and man, I just burned everybody. And nothing I could do. When you blow stuff out, there's nothing you can do in post.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, it'll get better every time that way, right?
And you should just spend some time under a sun lamp, and help me out a little bit.
Well, now I have you beat on.
Well,
Yeah, there you go.
I
You
definitely.
threw some frisbee. He played some frisbee golf today, or ultimate frisbee. I'm sorry.
Frisbee.
And you actually look like you have a little more sun, so that's helping me.
Trying.
So yeah, Mike, you're gonna have to.
You're playing frisbee golf. I'm playing video games. So I definitely got you beat on that account. But it's a work in progress. I think do the best you can. Right. What's your rating? Did you rate it?
I gave it 1.5.
There you go. All right.
1.5.
Yeah.
And because I'm rating it in the bottle.
Yeah.
And I like it. We'll do it blind next.
Yeah, we will. So, okay, thanks for checking out another edition of Craft Beer Budz. Remember, if you're going to punish your liver, make it count. If it's not craft, it's crap. And wherever possible, drink it where they brew it. And I think this just made that point in spades. So we'll see you next time. Cheers again with the empty glass. We got to turn this better. So we'll see you on Wednesday.